Hello, Moghamoans, good people of ours. This is your LGA chairman of Mogamo, lawyer Valentine Atafu Gana, coming to address you, coming to key in on some of the unfortunate things that are happening in Mogamo. Some unfortunate things that are bringing untold pain, suffering, and death to our village at the hands of the ADF, the brutal, the murderous, the genocidal forces of the ADF. Fellow Moghamoans, greetings again to all of you from all our villages. Much one burning no Ambo, ni no Angie, ni no Anong, ni no Oshong, burning no Batibo, ni no Besi, ni no Besom, ni no Efa. Much one, ni no Ingwen, ni no Inyo, ni no Iwai, ni no Oguzang, ni no Okrugwe, ni no Okulabe, ni no Okuruku, ni no Mbengok. Much one chigu one ALGA chairman. Much one ni no Mbonjek, ni no Ongemowa, ni no Onumben, ni no Onyenjek, ni no Oshu, ni no Otiben. Machari one ni no Mogamo. Mbe fono Mogamo Jim. Moghamoans mbe ba anga Mogamo Jim. Mbe Mokumo Jim. Forum be notables Jim ga Mogamo. Moghamoans executive one. Ambe Mogamo LGA. To Moghamoans, I come and I greet you to table to you some of these very antagonizing things that have been happening in Mogamo. A couple of weeks ago, we saw how the ADF brutally murdered the brother of the son of Guzang, Mr. Amba Nyamset Hansen D, and Mr. Njogo Cletus Aburo. And these brutal murders were even owned up by the ADF, by both Mr. Lucas Asu and by the genocidal chairman of the ADF or leader of the ADF, Cho Ayaba. To those of you Moghamoans who have been mistaken, who have been misled, or who did misjudge the ADF through the circumstances to support the ADF, I salute you too. And I call on you to begin that process of correction, to turn away from this genocidal force. You see, in 2021, and specifically in August 2021, an American reputable investigative journalist, C.C. Berkley, published a report after she visited Cameroon and did some in-depth and extensive investigations on forces that were fighting against the government. She did not expect to discover what she discovered, but in all what she gathered with irrefutable evidence, it came out that the ADF is a tool of the Cameroonian government, that the ADF is a tool of both Mr. Emile Bankwi and Paul Njiatanga, as well as the Cameroonian army, to kill and to bring pain to the Ambazonian people. Over the past 5 to 6 years, we have seen these parasitic vipers in the name of the ADF lodge themselves in Mogamo. The pretense has been that they are there to fight the genocidal Cameroonian army, but that pretense is far from the truth. The truth is that the ADF has been raping Mogamo women and children, stealing, committing burglary, kidnapping Moghamoans for ransom, and has brutally murdered Moghamoans in all types of heinous ways, including burying people alive. They have desecrated Mogamo fondoms. But Mogamo, Rini ADF Mogamo for coke. But Mogamo, the Benin or Tam Chugo, Barani, Kierga Gumbum for coke, Lambi for Chendo, and the Berni shop, Rini ADF Alpha, Tikerga ADF, Yachigu Jonga Nap, and Timo Bere Jonga Nap, Berkerignimbe for Ambujo. Fellow Moghamoans, those who deny the freedom of others deserve it neither for themselves. Let's look at some of the activities that the ADF has done, the heinous activities. We've seen the ADF execute people in Ashong, in Guzang, in Besi, in Krugwe, and in many more villages. We've seen the ADF kill the son of Krugwe. We've seen the ADF kidnap and execute the father of an ex-fighter in Ashong. The father called Sam, and the ex-fighter's name is Mba, who went by the popular name Inji. We saw how the ADF executed Biebie, Tiger, General Ivo, and many of Mogamo's best fighters. We saw how the ADF arrested and detained the son of Iwai, leading to his death. We saw how the ADF ramshackled and desecrated the Inyo Palace. We saw how the ADF murdered Njek Bernard in Ashok. We saw the ADF kill 11 restoration fighters in Guzang during 2 different incidents about 3 or 4 years ago. We saw the ADF beating almost to death the chief of Con in Ashok because he wouldn't contribute money or respond to their extortion. We saw how the ADF kidnapped over 50 cows from Besi belonging to an indigent of Besi. But Mogamo, Rimoni ADF Mogamo, Mbifo Chendo. We heard how the leader, the murderous war criminal of the ADF, Mr. Cho Ayaba, spouted his mouth, mocking Moghamoans and claiming or celebrating his trophies of Mogamo dead bodies all around. The only fool bigger than the fool who knows it all, as Mr. Cho Ayaba purports himself to be, is the person who argues with him. Cho Ayaba does not deserve a debate from us. We deserve a conversation within ourselves to rally the strength that Mogamo has to take out the ADF in Mogamo. You see, courage is not the absence of fear, but the judgment that something else is more important than inaction and fear. All of you guys listening to me, I don't know what you're hiding behind. I don't know what you're afraid of. I don't know what some of us are so laxed to inaction, to the inability to contribute to the ability for us to defend Mogamo. Every Moghamoan now in Mogamo is under the imminent apprehension of bodily hurt and injury and death. And the law gives us the right to use self-defense to defend ourselves against those who put us in imminent apprehension of danger and death. The aggressive use of force in the fight for right is the most noble engagement that we can engage. We owe this to our people. This is a duty that we owe to Moghamoans. Mbeyi mbanga mon mbemba mbengo bada Jimmy Mogamo niba jugo tifrini chi ADF Mogamo and tibri chi ADF Mogamo, for our deeds determine us as much as we determine our deeds. And that time for action is here. And action yambanga Mogamo buruku. Over dozens of centuries, Mogamo people, the world has demonstrated that only through peace, or that the world has demonstrated that peace can only come through strength exercised by the might of those who are right. Let me repeat that again. Peace can only come through strength exercised by the might of those who are right. And our innocent people in Mogamo are right. And we must muster the strength to protect them. Mogamo must muster the strength to work with Momo and seek to uplift the entire county within that equation. But first, we must protect Mogamo and rise up with our strength. But you have to ask the question, why again is French Cameroon using the ADF to kill our people? The ADF is using, or the government of Cameroon is using the ADF to kill our people because the government of French Cameroon does not want to heed to UN resolutions 1608, 1514, and other resolutions such as United States Senate Resolution 684 that calls for the problem or the conflict in Cameroon to be solved consistent with the root causes of the conflict. And the root causes of the conflict in Cameroon is the annexation of the southern Cameroons, the annexation of Ambazonia, and the recolonization of our territory against UN Resolution 1608 and 1504. We must act. Forces in Mogamo are there to defend our people. About 2 years ago, the ADF went and occupied Guzang, committing rapes, mayhem, and murders, and it was our support of the restoration forces headed by the late commando who ejected the ADF from Guzang and chased them out. We know what to do, and we know the forces on the ground that can and that will eject the ADF from Mogamo. Let me inform you of something else which we know. We know, of course, that the ADF is colluding and working with the genocidal Cameroonian government to identify and kill the legitimate restoration fighters fighting for the freedom of Ambazonia. General Ivor is an example. General Chacha is an example, and many others. We know the Cameroon government delivers arms to the ADF to kill our people. We have first-hand, irrefutable, and uncontroverted proof of that. We know that the Cameroonian government is using the ADF to create heinous murders, and they film that and share that with the entire world so that they can paint a black picture about the legitimate restoration forces and weaken our struggle. Our struggle will continue, fellow Moghamoans, and we by all means will prevail. Now, if you're listening to this and you've been condemned to inaction, just know that if you don't stand for something, you'll fall for anything. We cannot expect to free Mogamo from these murderers, rapists, and robbers by doing nothing. To expect the Cameroon or French colonial government, which is killing our people daily, removing innocent people from jails in Bamenda, in Du, in Kumba, in Boya, in Yaoundé, removing innocent Ambazonians and killing them. To expect that this same government is going to be the one to come protect Moghamoans is playing the fool's errand. It's a pipe dream. To expect Moghamoans in Mogamo to defend themselves against the ADF without the support of us in the diaspora, it's like expecting them to catch a falling knife with their bare hands. Fellow Moghamoans, the African Union has failed us. The United States has failed us. The United Nations has failed us. International organizations have failed us. We are the one we've been waiting for, and we are the only ones who are going to free Mogamo of this murder. I come to you also to solicit your support, to reach out and be able to contribute financially to what the legitimate local area government in Mogamo can do, to heal our sick, to support our injured, to assist those who've had their homes burned by the ADF and by the Cameroonian army. You can support us by using Zelle 346-758-3683. That number again is 346-758-3683. You can also support us by using Cash App 346-632-5442. And all of this support we are soliciting is voluntary. Now, fellow Moghamoans, on Sunday, November 7th, we held a General Assembly meeting of Moghamoans where we took some resolutions. We will be having another General Assembly meeting on Saturday, November 25th. We encourage you to contribute, but we also encourage you to come to the Mogamo General Assembly meeting of the Mogamo LGA to let your voices be heard. Now, Moghamoans, as I said, courage is not the absence of fear, but the judgment and decision that something else is more important than inaction and fear. I thank you for listening. I thank Moghamoans who attended the last LGA meeting. I thank Moghamoans who have been contributing. I thank Mogamo executives who have been sacrificing their time to meet and to brainstorm on what we can, should, and must do. And I thank you in advance for all the support you render. And I also call on Moghamoans to pledge their yearly draft of $1,000 and to contribute towards the efforts which we are making to relieve our people of these heinous burdens heaped on us by both the Cameroon government and by both the genocidal ADF. Have a great day. Have a great rest of the month. And may God bless you and your entire families. May God bless Mogamo, Momo, and Ambazonia. And may freedom through our efforts be here sooner than later. Thank you and Godspeed.